they came in expecting to save money, they leave paying more money, but feeling as if they saved their money. And it's a win-win-win, right?
All right, Andy. Hey, thank you so much for being on the Elite Agent Talk show. Man, it's good to have you on here. How long have we known each other?
Right, since the beginning, since day one, I feel, since at least I know since I started, I've known you.
Yeah, which was when?
Well, I was 2007.
Yeah.
2007, I was career. I think I was turned before career. I think I turned career in the beginning of 2008. I don't remember. That was a long time ago with Darla in her district office,
Yeah.
in Costa Mesa.
Yep, we've known each other so I've been an agent, 15 years. And from the first week.
Yeah.
Back in the old office. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, Andy. Whatever you want to share about your agency. I mean, I know you really well. We spent 4 hours at Atlanta, layover at PC, and we've known each other for years. But share everybody, your background and a little bit about your agency.
Yeah. So, Andy Zuloaga, obviously. I've been an agent now 15 years. It'll be 16 years in September. Started since day number one. I've always focused on building a good referrals network, right? Always visiting centers of influences, focusing on always obtaining referral business. And since day one, I chased realtors, lenders, escrows. And here we are 15, 16 years later, obviously my network is much bigger, but still doing the same things I did from day one, just doing it on a much larger scale.
Nice. So how many PCs have you been to?
4 PCs now. I did this last PC at the Greenbrier was my 4th PC. I think I have 6 championships and 11 or 12 toppers. Since I made the first one in 2010, I haven't missed one. Since I made the first championship, I didn't miss one until they ended. And I wish I could say the same about PC, but focusing to keep that consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys started when you're young, huh?
Yeah, dude, 22.
22, wow.
I was right out of I was still trying, still growing up, but I think it was a good age. Had the opportunity to, I guess, like, the good thing about being young is you're not afraid to fail. And obviously to be good at what we do, we have to fail a lot. Right. So it was good to start young because I was able to, just do a lot of trial and error from the very beginning.
Yeah, take more risks. How'd you get started?
So I was actually working at Wells Fargo. I remember I had figured out that I was actually good in sales at Wells Fargo. I was actually one of the lead tellers in the area. I was selling checking accounts and credit cards and savings accounts to everyone who approached my window. Pretty much was getting acknowledged for my good sales skills. And I remember I was climbing the ropes pretty quickly during Wells Fargo. I remember that I wanted to be a business banker. Why? Because I guess the business banker made a certain, they started at a certain salary. And I remember that at that time, my branch manager told me that I was too immature, right? Which she may not have been right on that sense. But the fact that I was limited and that there was people limiting my growth kind of made me see that working on the corporate side of things.
You okay?
So working on the corporate side of things, you can shine, you can work extremely hard, but there's always going to be someone limiting your growth, right? So that was the first position where I realized that I was really limited. So then I went into the lending side of things. My dad was actually a mortgage broker at the time. I started working as his processor, and I noticed we kept referring these insurance policies to one of his friends. his friends never knew the importance of getting me what I needed in the time frame that I needed. So in efforts to make extra income, I obtained my fire insurance license or my property and casualty license because my intentions were to process a loan and then sell the fire insurance. That is when I met with Darla. And then when Darla showed me, obviously, the opportunity, the income opportunity that we have here as agents with farmers, I decided to just give it my all. I pretty much stopped processing and just gave farmers 110% from day one.
Wow. Yeah. What was it like working with Darla back in those days?
Oh, I mean, Darla was great. Darla was so supportive. Darla was extremely patient, right? and I say, and I say that because obviously, when Wells Fargo told me I was a bit immature, they may have been right, like I said, right? But Darla somehow knew how to deal with our different personalities, and honestly, gave us always the real talks that ultimately led me to where I'm at today. Like she really opened the doors to where I'm at.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'll tell you, Andy. I've seen a lot of growth from you. And we'll get to that more. But yeah, Darla was so supportive, and things were tough. She used humor a lot, but yeah, just basically was really there when we needed her. So yeah, so sad to see her go. Um, but yeah, I could really relate, and I know what you mean when she just gave all of us a chance. Even though we weren't maybe the best bunch of. But do you remember some of those agents back in those that office?
Yeah, a lot of them. I still remember all of them. Tim, right? Tim's still an agent. Melissa K, right? Me
Hmm.
and her went to career school together. She's still an agent. There was Ty. Ty, I don't think he's no longer with farmers, but I believe he's still in the insurance business.
Hmm.
Yeah, we had a great group at that time.
Yeah, 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 a lot of memories back then. But you weren't really working in that office, huh?
No, I was. So I utilized the office. At that time, obviously, I was starting out, so I didn't have money to have my own office. A
Hmm.
lot of the work I did was actually at home
Hmm.
or out on the field. I was actually going at that time already out to real estate offices, meeting with people at their real estate offices, or whenever that client wanted to actually meet with me at my office. We were able to use Darla's office.
Nice. But yeah, you still got off to a pretty good start. What can you say to other young agents that are getting started, maybe are a little worried about like, hey, like I'm so young, like people won't take me seriously, or they kind of have that, I don't have an experience. How do I, get started in the insurance business when you're such a young agency owner?
Well, 15 years later, I feel like, I mean, do I know all the secrets? No, right? But if I've narrowed down any secrets, I feel that anyone who believes in themselves, regardless of their age, anyone who believes in themselves and believes in their abilities, right? Um, People buy passion, right? So anyone who's passionate about what they do consistently will work hard to do well for others, right? Bring value to others. Anytime you factor in all that together, right? Working hard, believing in yourself, doing the best you can for each and every customer, everything else just kind of takes care of itself. Like realistically, that's when I believe life will open every door you want open, and it's just up to us to go through that door, to do what's necessary to open that door to get through it.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. Like if they feel like you're really passionate about helping them, they don't really care about, your background and
Yeah,
stuff. They
age
just
is
care.
irrelevant.
Yeah, they just care if you could help them or not.
If
Do you-
anything, I used to use my age as an advantage because I used to tell people, well, the good news is, I'm not going to retire anytime soon. So I'm going to be around for a while, I'm
Yeah,
going to
there
be
you
around
go.
for a while. Yeah, most people were like, oh, my agent's been around forever. He doesn't really ever respond to my calls. Well, at least, I'm going to be here forever, man.
Right. Or sometimes they came from a different agent. Oh, my agent retired.
Yeah.
My agent I switched agents now. Yeah, there's always advantages in every situation. So yeah, so tell me about the early days. What anything that helped you along the ways, like anything that clicked or anything that kind of was a game changer for your career.
So I actually started working in 2000. I started, I believe, in '06, '07. At that time, the economy was still doing well. We were probably reaching the peak of
Yep.
that economy, right? Because it kind of blew up at the end of '07 into '08. And when I first started as an agent, I immediately started networking with realtors. At that time, I mean, you qualified for a loan just by smiling and having a name and a social, right?
Yep.
So we were doing from the very, very beginning. I remember I was doing 30, 40 home policies a month. And to me, that was a ton
Nice.
of business, right? At that
Yeah.
time, that was a ton of business. It was enough to actually give me a little income. Um, Probably one of the mistakes I made at a young age, right? I was still living at home when I first started with farmers. And I remember I leased a BMW 528i.
I remember that.
The car, I'll never forget, it was like a $750 a month payment.
It's blue,
I
right?
was made, it was black. It was black.
Oh, it's black.
It was black. Yeah. The blue one came after. That was after.
Oh,
The
yeah. Was
little
it?
335. The
Yeah,
335
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
the blue
That's
one.
right.
The 528 was before the 335, right? And the 528, I had leased it, was $750 a month. Then on top of that, my insurance, I'll never forget, it was like close to $300 a month, right? So I was $1,000 out the door when I was only making $1,500. To all the agents watching this and all the new agents do that, don't ever do that, right? Don't spend any money on anything that's gonna make it hard for you to later grow your business, right? Long story short, I leased the vehicle and 2 months later, the economy crashed. I went from writing 30 home policies a month to zero. And then to top it off, all those home policies that I wrote that I thought at least I would get paid the residual on, well, guess what?
Foreclosures.
90% of those people were losing their homes.
Dang.
So those policies were getting canceled. They were not renewing because so many people were losing the houses during that time. I remember that I had my back to the wall in the sense that I was so young into my career. I already had this huge expense and already I was worried about my credit. I've been credit conscious since day one. And I'll never forget, that was one of the most stressful things, acknowledging like, oh my God, is this going to really happen to me? Am I going to have this car repoed? Am I going to be the laughing stock? Yada, yada, yada. Obviously, I put myself, unfortunately, in a sink or swim situation. But as crazy as it sounds, Dan, it was probably one of the best things that had happened to me because it made me the agent who I am today. Instead of making excuses obviously I was worrying, right? But instead of sitting there and focusing on my problems, I turned to the solution, right? And that solution was work and working hard. The beautiful thing about farmers is when I first started, obviously I was only selling a home policy. I never sold any auto policies. I never sold any commercial policies. I had never sold any life other than the life policies that were needed to become career, right? It was thanks to that market correction. It was thanks to me having to meet my requirements that I got to work. I started selling all the other products that farmers had. I became good at selling auto. I started landing commercial accounts. I would say it was thanks to that crash, I became the agent I became. So fast forward to 2010, 2011, as the economy got a little better, I had so much traction moving in that, I hit the last 10 years running and I've been running since. And I mean, we're here. It's evident. It appears that we might be headed into a recession, right? And I'm already making tons of adjustments here in the office, getting prepped. And actually, most people fear the recession. I'm one of the few that actually look forward to it only because I know that in the stronger, in the recessions, it becomes survival of the fittest and only the strong will survive. And I know this next correction is going to help wean out a lot of my competition that can't hang. It's just going to give me so much more opportunity for the future years.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm not afraid. The challenges, the more challenge, it seems like in life, every challenge that I have received has made me a stronger, better person. And if it wasn't for that challenge, if it wasn't for that tough time, right, I would have never had the opportunity to grow or become the agent I've become.
Yeah. Or if you're looking for tough times, it's good to be a farmer's agent.
Right? That's why now I just laugh at him. Bring it, baby, bring it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Every
Yeah.
time there's a challenge, you figure something out, and then next time there's a challenge, you kind of have more confidence because you figured the previous one out. There's always opportunities too if you really look deep enough. So, yeah, I feel like as a salesperson, I never really seen you like as a sales presentation, but a long time ago you said something where I didn't even think about it. I was always like, selling insurance. And I felt like I was pretty good at it and training my staff at it. But you said something, I'm not sure if it was in a meeting or something or just to me personally, but you said like, hey, at the end of the day, what we do is sell fear. You were the first person to say that. And I was like, that kind of like, I didn't tell you, but that kind of like blew my mind. I was like, man, I need to like lean into that a little bit more. And it's kind of like a weird, like sick thing to say, but when you kind of know that and you use that, that's when you start getting the higher liability coverage and things like that. And I want to give you credit for saying that, but expand on that a little bit for me.
Well, I find that my success has come never by selling price, right? Because I've always been targeting the referral based business, right? My successes actually have come in the consultative sales approach, right? Doing a real good job of educating the client of why they need what they need, why they need what they need. And I feel that if we do a good enough job of explaining that, and sadly it is, yeah, by putting a lot of fear into the client, fear of the unknown, because realistically, I mean, being in California, right? It's there's a reason why we at the moment can only offer 15, 30, 10, right? There's reasons why we're limited to only selling certain liability limits, right? And that's because at the moment there's huge exposures. I've always made people aware of those exposures. And it's to the point where if you do a good job educating the client, now the client feels they need a certain amount of coverage. We do farmers, right? And realistically, seven, 8, 9 out of 10 times, we're never more competitive, right? So it's that
Price
one,
wise.
2 times every 10, 2 out of every 10, maybe 1 out of every 10 is when we may be more competitive price wise. Us applying every discount, right? Them having
One out of
online
10.
policy, right?
Yeah.
So we're quality, right? And I always
Yeah.
tell this to my staff, right? When people come into or I even tell this to customers at times, right? All cars have 4 wheels, will take you from point A to point B. Why is a Camry costing you X when a Mercedes Benz costs you Y? Right? You get a lot more in that Y, right? And especially the customer service factor of it, right? You show up to a Mercedes Benz dealer for service as opposed to a Toyota dealer for service. They roll out the red carpet to you, right? So that's why it's so important for, I feel, the agencies to have the customer experience as the most important factor, right? Because if we're selling already a product that we know is a little more expensive than our competitors, the customer experience is what's going to make or break a client, because so many times the clients left us because they wanted to save money. Surely enough, they come back to us because they realize they missed our service. They missed that we would call them on their birthdays. They missed that they get a phone call when they file a claim just to let them know we are aware of the claim, right? In the event they need anything, they can always reach out to us. We try to really provide a wow factor to our customers, because at the end of the day, right, this business is, the new business side of it is extremely important. But what we keep, I feel is the most important, right? The residual aspect of it, the book. So I do everything I can to make sure I am giving my customers the best experience. I can try to keep the retention as high as I can. And so going back to the fear factor of it, right? Just sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent.
No, that's good too. You got to protect the back end too, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
protect the back end. But yeah, honestly, when I've sold on a consultative approach,
just
when
get
I've
the
done a
heck out
good
of there.
job, when I've done a good job, when I let clients at this point now, now I'm not offering them the same limits. Now, after I did such a good job of telling them what they need, I'm like, here's a quote with what you need. Yeah, at first they're a little shocked by that price, but now they understand why they got to pay more. And it's weird. I break a lot of patterns. A lot of times people call into the office complaining about how much they're paying. People work best off patterns. That's why sometimes you got to break the patterns. Patterns as to saving you money, right? They call from office to office. They're always looking to save money. It's funny when I get on the phone and I'm like, you know what? I'm reviewing your coverage and I honestly feel that I'm not saving your money. Like, I honestly feel like you're not paying enough. Like, I'm kind of cringing here at your coverages. I feel that you have a lot of exposure. Let me explain why. All right. By the end of that call, they're just like, you know what, Andy, just leave me where I'm at. I'm good.
Well, some people will get it, right?
Think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going back to it, you do such a good job of providing the fear. Now the customers want the higher coverage. Most of my customers, I'm telling you, they leave me paying $50, $100, $150 more a month than what they came in. They came in expecting to save money. They leave paying more money, but feeling as if they saved their money. And it's a win-win-win, right? Win for me, obviously, I helped out a client. I gave them the coverages needed. It helped me with my premium goals, right? And at the same time, I helped out the client because no one has taken the time to explain this to this client. The client now feels they're well insured. The client is happy that they've been educated. Now, all of a sudden, this client is telling all his friends and family about us because no one has taken the time to really tell them what they need. And more importantly, now they stay with us because since no one has ever done what we did, to keep them in our doors has just been so much easier.
Yeah, and they have the peace of mind now that they're protected.
Yeah, and I have a peace of mind too because when an accident happened, I'll never forget. I had this lady that was referred to me by a realtor. This lady was in her 80s. This lady had 3 homes paid off cash, including the one she lived in, and she was driving around with 15, 30, 10 limits. I set her up with 250, 500 limits. I set her up with an umbrella. She came out paying so much more than what she was already paying that at first she was panicking. I'll never forget. She was like thinking that she came back to me, and at one moment she was like, you know what? I think you kind of scammed me. Like, I know you talked a lot, but before I know it, I'm now realizing that I'm paying so much and I'm paying this. Well, keep in mind she's in her 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out because of her lack of reaction time, right, she ends up causing a big accident. She ends up getting served. She showed up to my office, and I'll never forget because one of my team members was kind of helping her on the floor because someone's like, Andy, hey, we have a client here. It's kind of emotional. They're crying. We don't know what's going on. I went out there. It was her. She was very emotional. Why was she emotional? Oh, she had just gotten served documents. And I remember when I saw the serve paperwork, I was like, why are you crying? Like, this is something to celebrate. And why do we need to celebrate? Is because thanks to the changes you made with me, you have an umbrella that's here to protect you. I told her, from what I'm seeing, you are fine. You're going to be very well off in this situation. You have nothing to worry about. And I just, that was just like, it was one of those turning moments, makes you realize like, wow, what we do has the potential to be very powerful.
Yeah, change lives.
Yeah, I'll never forget. It felt so good, right? Potentially could have, who knows? So many assets all paid off, right? And you got to know what can happen in your state, right? Because obviously every state has different laws. I know here in California that rental properties are up for game, right? Mm-hmm. Your primary home has some protection in its equity, right, to its Homestead Act. However, investment properties, there's nothing to protect those assets, right, other than an umbrella. And then there's always the people that think they know how to, Andy, I could just put it under an LLC or under a corporation. And, well, at the end of the day, right, LLCs and corporations have an ownership, so they can be pierced. And on top of that, people spend more money putting them through LLCs, putting them through corporations, when in reality, an umbrella is a much more economical solution. And it's going to provide the most protection for investors or for clients with multiple properties. Going back into then we have California allows garnishments, right? Educate clients that I've seen people with no money still being sued by other insurance carriers. Crazy thing happening now, right? We're seeing insurance carriers sue people who didn't have insurance. Well, why are you suing someone that has no money? Well, because this person's young and they have what's called a lifetime earning potential. And in California, I believe 30% of your wages can be garnished. So that's an important factor to educate clients with, because if your client has a good job, they're an engineer, who cares if they have no assets to their name, right? Tomorrow they're involved in a big accident. All of a sudden, it's not like child support. They owe X out of every check until this all gets paid off.
Yep.
I always tell people, tomorrow someone pulls 30% of your check. How does that affect your livelihood? So all things to know, right? Know your state rules, laws, so that way we know as agents how to best give advice.
Yeah.
And let people make the decision as to what they need.
I might have to review my coverage now after talking to you. Bump it up to 10 million.
Yeah, let me know if you want to transfer your policies.
All right. Yeah. So no, man. Yeah, dropping sales knowledge there, big time. So before you get to sell, I want to talk to you about the marketing. The one thing I never really figured out about the marketing with the realtors and the loan officers is like, yeah, I get it. Like, getting referrals from them is great, but what's in it for them? So that's what I always think about the value exchange there. Like, how do you present that? Hey, send something to me, because it almost seems like that's just like all take and no give there. So how do you build a relationship where it works out for them as well as you?
So yeah, you nailed it best, right? I don't feel that some people think that no, Andy's just funny. He knows how to smile. He's a likable character. So because of that, that's why people send them business. But though it may help, right, get an opportunity, at the end of the day, sometimes the realtor gives you the opportunity. You gotta provide that wow factor. You gotta show them where that value is, right? So depending on who I'm marketing to, right, whether it's real, I know how to bring values to just realtors. I know how to bring value to just lenders. I know how to bring values to the escrow companies. I know the ins and outs. I used to work there. So it helped that I worked in mortgage for as long as I did, because I understand the stresses and the worries of the mortgage. It helps. My parents were realtors, right? They're already retired, and this is a long time ago, right? But I understand the stresses and the business, right, on the real estate side. So because I understand their side of the business so well, I've been able to tailor our agency, right, to accommodate their services. And obviously bringing value can just be as quickly as turnaround times. Mm-hmm. Everything on the real estate side of things is time sensitive. Mm-hmm. You have no idea how many times lenders are reaching out to me and wanting me to take over someone else's farmer's policy because they are not responding to an evidence update. Simple evidence update. And thankfully, right, I'm a farmer's agent. So at least I'm going to call that agent and try to help them, right, update the evidence. Or sometimes I'll call Service Point, and Service Point I'll give the customer the phone number so they can call Service Point and get an update on that policy. But that's right there, just an area that blows my mind. Like I can't believe you're not spending the 5 minutes it takes to update a mortgage update the mortgagee on a policy and sending that in. Because realistically, if let's say the referring source of that lender is an Allstate or a State Farm, and you can definitely count on whoever answers that phone is going to take your business just simply because you failed to do a simple update. You failed to do what was needed in the time needed. Sometimes they say, okay, great, thank you for this update. Please send me the replacement cost estimate. 24 hours will go by. The agent still fails to email a replacement cost estimator. That just takes us 2 seconds to go into the system, save an email. So that understanding the importance, right, of the turnaround times and dealing with anybody in the real estate agency, I would say is like is the basics, right? That's the basics. Then evidently knowing, I mean, I can go into detail, right? In the sense that at the moment, right, our underwriting expectations on properties. It's important to know our the company's underwriting expectations, because evidently all the homes that are being referred to us don't meet those underwriting expectations. So it's good to educate the realtors as to what's happening on the insurance. Let the realtors know what our expectations are. So that way we know where to properly place a home when it's referred to us. Right. So it's just, that's another area of how we can bring value, right? Just education in the sense that, Andy, why is farmers canceling so many policies? Right. Oh, I mean, you can, when you give people the background as to why, what's happening in the industry, provide a lot of education, right? That's a lot of value to the client.
That makes the realtor more valuable to their client.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about when it comes to insurance too.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, there's lots of ways you can bring value, right?
And you also do a lot to build relationships with them, huh?
Tons, yeah. A lot of sponsoring, a lot of handshaking, a lot of consistency. Just, like I mentioned, since day one, it's who I've targeted. And here I am 15 years, still targeting the same people, but just obviously with time, learning how to target them better, how to approach them better, just keep showing up. Keep multiplying your network, keep growing your network, keep meeting new people.
You're always going to their events, taking them out to ball games.
Lunches, dinners, showing up to a lot of mixers. That's overwhelming sometimes. I mean, think about it. There's times 6, 7 o'clock at night. I've been working since 8 in the morning. I'm exhausted. I just want to go home, and put my feet up and eat dinner and watch the game. But no, I decide to go to a networking event, or I go show up to solicit at this event. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to these events to drink like most people think people do at mixers. I mean, I'm there really doing what I got to do to feed my family, to shake hands, make the relationships I need, collect business cards, so that way I have new people to solicit and market to.
Nice. But yeah, that has paid off, right?
Yeah, I can't complain, man. I've been fortunate, and I always tell my team, at least from the way I generate business here, it's like the more you guys see me here in the office, the more unproductive I am.
Oh wow!
Really, yeah, I make the magic happen out on the field, knocking on doors, showing up to places. That's how I generate business.
Nice. Yeah, well, you got the personality to do it, and it's definitely a fun guy to hang out with. So that you definitely have that work in your favor. Tell me a little bit, Andy. There was maybe just not one time, but we've gone through a lot of changes, underwriting changes, not just this one, but in the past with homes and like other things. But when you said you're not as mature in the past, and maybe your attitude was a little negative and things like that. What has helped you turn things around when it comes to like attitude in general? Because I feel like maybe you haven't, but you made a little turnaround during, I don't know what year it was, but there was maybe some parts during both of our careers where we were just so frustrated and we're like, forget this, I'm gonna sell the book and I give up. And what turned things around, or what?
Well, you said it. It wasn't what actually turned things around. Everything that turned things around was my attitude. As being captive, right? We deal with a lot of adversity, right? We deal with the ups and downs of the company, whether we like them or not, right? I would say that in the very beginning, I was negative. Automatically, a change happened, and I looked at it as a problem. And anytime you focus on a problem, it's a problem, right?
Yep.
And it wasn't until how do I say this in a way where I don't get in trouble? I shut the F up, right? That's the truth. I shut the F up and I got to work, meaning I tunnel vision, right? You got to keep your eyes on the prize, right? Keep your eyes on the prize and keep working hard each and every day. every day, as long as you do the best you can within that day, it seems like everything else just takes care of itself. And going back into it, like the minute you start focusing on a problem, if you make it a problem, you'll never find the solution, right? All problems have solutions. All problems have solutions. So it's just a matter of it's just having the right mindset, like in the sense that like I guess it's helped being with the company long enough, because from all the changes that at first I fought, it's weird, but from every change that I didn't like that farmers made, I ended up making more money. So I ended up winning from every change. Every time I complained about something, I ended up winning. And that's when I realized, like, wow, if I just shut the F up and just get to work, right, I'm going to win. And so now, right, we're dealing with adversity like we've done our entire career. And it's weird because I'm not stressed about it one bit. Yeah, is it aggravating? Of course, just a little bit, right? Meaning, things are now a bit more challenged. But again, this is part of my new attitude or mindset is I believe life works for me. Life is always working for me.
Okay.
Right? Tony Robbins says that. And one of the Tony Robbins events I attended, right? Life is always working for me. So these changes that are happening around me, like they're actually happening for me. Somehow or another, it's going to make me stronger and better. So it's just up to me, though, to work through it. Whereas if I don't look at it with that attitude, or if I don't look at it with that same mindset, all of a sudden if I feel that life's going against me, well, I believe in energies, right? And if you think negatively, negative things will happen as a result. If you think positive and stay positive, positive things will continue to happen as a result. I had in one of those Tony Robbins events, I got to walk on fire, right? And walking on fire, the reason why he has you do that is it's like a metaphor of life, in the sense that when life is like walking on fire. Every day we are walking on fire, every single day, right? So when we're trained to walk on fire, right? Because you spend 2 hours before you walk on fire, you spend 2 hours training on how you're going to walk on fire, how you're going to make it through the fire, the hot coals, right? And the whole time you're walking on it, I mean, you're saying a chant, but you're visualizing, you're picturing yourself. You're keeping your eyes on the prize. You're picturing yourself celebrating at the end. From the minute you start walking on fire, you're already visualizing yourself celebrating at the end. That's kind of how it is. Like going back to it, staying on tunnel vision, keeping your eyes on the prize, right? Knowing what we want. We got to work hard for it, right? Well, we're going to obviously go through adversity, right? Like anytime you focus on your problems, or anytime I focus like, oh my God, I am walking on fire, I'm going to get burned. You're going to get burned, right? If you stop, you're going to get burned. But if you continue, right, with your mind, with your eyes on the prize, you'll be surprised. And walking through fire was honestly like one of the coolest experiences that I've ever done in life. I'll never forget that high that I got after I walked on fire. It was intense. And it's crazy, but you always remember that. And I think sometimes when problems arise, we can allow problem to do two things to us. We can allow that problem to burn us, or we can allow that problem to make us strong. And I think now that I'm understanding kind of how things work, I choose to allow that problem to get me stronger. Now I have thicker feet. I can hold more heat. My skin's a little thicker, right? I don't get burned so easily. So just mindset's so important. Attitude is so important. I can't stand negative people. It's cool to be negative, okay, or it's to debate about issues, because sometimes we want to bounce ideas off each
Mm-hmm.
other, right? So that we can grow, right? So debate is powerful, but I feel that, I guess my biggest pet peeve is people who just have no desire to struggle to achieve anything, or automatically give up because they don't believe in themselves. I think that's the biggest failure right there. When someone doesn't believe that, the minute you don't believe, the minute you feel you're going to lose, you lost.
Mm.
And I forgot what book I read that. I actually just recently, here, I'm going to get to my notes. Recently, I wrote this. Give me a quick second. This is good. So I've been reading, it's a popular book. Everyone has it. What's the name of the book?
What does it say?
I'll tell you the name.
What's the message?
Think and Grow Rich, right? Think
Oh,
and
okay,
Grow
yeah.
Rich, right?
Mhm.
If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you don't, hold on. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. Far out in this world, we find success begins with the fellow's will. It's on the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, it's the man who wins is always the man who thinks he can.
Wow.
Powerful.
Yeah, man.
Powerful.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of people think that it's, oh no, Andy has a good personality. Andy's funny. It makes him easier to get places. No, I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident. I know what I can accomplish. And I really think that's been my secret, just that belief in myself. And you and me are huge sports fans, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, and if you look at history, right, of all the best players are always the biggest S talkers, right?
Mhm.
All the big players are S talkers, and why? Is because they believe in their abilities.
Mhm.
They
They can
believe
back it
that
up.
they're the best. Michael Jordan, right? He was one of the biggest, S talkers in the game, right? But no one believed in themselves more than he did. That's why I feel he's still, will be one of the best ever. Same with Kobe.
Yep. No, yeah, a lot of good stuff right there. And yeah, I mean, I want to acknowledge you for kind of seeking that, going to that conference, reading books. I think to change mindset, we have to expose ourselves to that new, different way of thinking. And I think I would say that maybe change your career around, that going to those conferences, reading these books, and then, it's a perfect time to talk about this stuff because, even with all this experience, when a new challenge comes, it kind of could set us back a little bit. And me personally, I'm kind of going through that right now. So it's perfect time for me to have this discussion with you because, once you have your eyes on the prize and you get excited about the future, you get excited about where we're going and not focusing on the problem. Like you said, like a lot of people who are negative, they just are thinking about the problem itself and just getting so stuck in it and dwelling on it that they can't see the solution.
Yeah, you can't clear the black sky, the black clouds.
Yeah, so
You can't
having
see the
tunnel
sun under
vision,
black clouds.
yeah, that's so important right now for my agency situation. So it's great, man. I think another reason maybe people think that things come easy for you is because of your social media posts.
Right.
And you've done a presentation on it, and you killed it on that presentation. And for everybody who missed it, it wasn't probably recorded or anything like that. But first of all, everyone should follow you because you come up with those ideas yourself.
Yeah, I have a marketing guy that also starts to bounce back ideas. We go back and forth with each other, right? But typically, right, I think it's important to break the mold, right?
Mhm.
We're so, again, break the patterns. People go online to be entertained. So be a little different, right? What's different between you and someone else's post? I mean, right? I think just put yourself in someone else's. What do you want to see online? So I've always tried to make things a bit comical, just be a little different. I feel like I haven't utilized social media the way I should because I kind of have used it and not necessarily I guess it's to market myself, but realistically it's to stay in front of my relationships, right? Obviously I market to realtors, lenders, escrows a lot. I know where they're at on Facebook. So one of the ways, if I don't have time, consistently be at their office visiting them, right? At least I can show up on their feeds, right? So they at least reminded that Andy's still out there, Andy's still working. So yeah, social media is a free way to obviously advertise yourself to your friends, as long as you, I mean, even think about it, right? It's just, I have friends from high school there. I have friends from, at least let people know what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta always be branding yourselves, especially when you're in sales. That's, I think, since day number one, I've always worked extremely hard to brand myself to everyone, so that when someone thinks of insurance, I come up to mind and I hopefully get that call to get that opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. We get to be it. We're in a product, right, where everyone needs it.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, literally everybody needs it. But yeah, you do it in a really creative way. And I think bringing humor is not, is a skill that you have. So some of your posts, man, there's been some classics. So I think that's a great way of letting people know you're doing insurance but still bringing value to them by making them laugh.
Yeah.
So that's great too. But yeah, what else do you think a part of your character or part of or skill you have that has helped you think along the ways here?
Well, I'm going to finish with something we were talking, right? We're talking about attitude, and we're talking about, remember, everything is a perspective, right? It's how we perceive things, it's how we respond to them. So obviously we can say, oh, there's a fork in the road, I can't, I'm stuck. Or, hey, there's a fork there, so make sure make sure you make a left and then a quick right and go around it, right? It's just, everything is a perspective. And I think one of the key things, I mentioned Tony Robbins. I think one of the best things that he said that has always resonated in my head, happiness comes from growth, right? Happiness comes from growth in the sense that as long as we are growing in our lives, whether it's spiritually, whether it's in our business, whether it's in our relationships, just anytime we grow any aspects of our lives, that makes us happy. That's where happiness comes. So that's something that has always stuck to me. And I feel it's true. I think maybe I've grown so much in farmers. Yeah, that's maybe why I'm so happy now.
Yeah.
I just saw my folio. Whoop.
There you go.
But growth is important, right? And another thing that someone told me that also has always resonated is peace lives in the unknown, right? Mm-hmm. Peace lives in the unknown. And why that's important, because as a business owner, you can imagine that I am a control freak, right? And evidently, right, like let's say these changes happening now in our industry, it could be extremely stressful. But when I remind myself that peace lives in the unknown, that's huge.
Yeah. So you gotta get comfortable with the unknown.
Yeah, you gotta keep very comfortable in the unknown. And sometimes, like, trust, again, you gotta trust that life is working for you.
Yeah. And that's so funny you say happiness comes from growth, but yeah, I could totally relate with you on that. Like in the beginning of the career, I was so impatient. I was like not happy that much, but once we've grown, it does make us a happier person. And I think folio does have a big part to do with it. Did you feel like that way, that you were kind of impatient in the beginning and you were not happy because you weren't? It took so long or harder and longer than you thought it would. Or you were expecting it to be hard and a grind, and it will take this many years.
I expected the grind. Yeah. Nothing good in life comes easy. Nothing good in life comes fast. Most things that happen in life, right, when you're on the brinks of quitting, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I felt that I was lucky, like in my case, right? I was lucky to always understand the value of hard work. And why do I say that is because I had excellent examples where my grandparents, like my grandparents were from Cuba, where obviously communism happened. Everything they had was taken from them. Like I'm only speaking right now then on my dad's side of the family. So my dad, my grandparents migrated to the US in the early 60s. My dad was only 3 years old and his brother, my uncle, was 1, almost the age of my kids.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents had just lost everything, or everything was taken from them, had to come to a new country where they had no money, nothing with them other than the clothes on their backs.
Don't speak the language.
Yeah, don't even speak the language. And they have 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Oh my God, like I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I am economically, I'm in the position I am, right? And it gives me so much peace because I can feed the kids. I can't imagine the stress of worrying about with my kids, or will they eat or not. It's weird, right? As a parent,
Mm-hmm.
I get so happy when my kids eat. I don't know why. It just fills me up knowing that they're full. I can't imagine having a stress where you don't know where you're going to sleep that night, right? And yet, with hard work, my grandparents were able to set a good foundation, live a good life, where my dad was able to, get good education, which obviously opened up for me. I'm first generation American. My family made so many sacrifices that I have all the resources given to me. I was lucky, man. My family was always able to afford for me food on my plate. I never knew the stresses of not eating or whatnot, thanks to that hard work that my grandparents carved out. And that's my drive, man. I have no excuses, right? If my grandparents were able to succeed with obviously all reason to fail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's no excuses for us. That's why I hate people who it's not hate, excuse my language. Hate's a strong word. I dislike when people make excuses, because I do believe excuses are for failures.
Wow, that's really powerful, man. It's it's good that I didn't judge you. When I first met you as a 22-year-old with a BMW, I was like, "Hey, probably an entitled brat here." But you're totally not that. You
Yeah, all
just
my income went to that BMW. You got to fake it to make it, right? Fake it till you make it.
yeah. But now, it's just some people don't see that, and I totally agree with you. It's like our obligation to take advantage of the opportunity because they work so hard to give us that opportunity. And some people just take that for granted and they're just complaining and, just think government or somebody else should do everything for them. But even though you're fortunate, you are still the one that sees that and takes it serious and wants to, pay back your family with by being able to make them proud. So that's a great way to use your family as motivation because I don't think there's anything stronger than that.
Yeah, man, gotta hold ourselves accountable. We are responsible for our lives. We are responsible for our lives. We choose we choose our destiny. We can, no matter how much things can stack up against us, it really is up to us.
100%.
And I think that's where that attitude is so important.
Yeah,
Important. That's the game changer. Realistically, it is the game changer.
it really is. So, all the other agents, that are going through changes right now, I think it's really important for us to take accountability and say, hey, we have control. No matter what's going on, we can control our attitude. We can control our work ethic. And yeah, you're a great example of someone who's really turned it around. Andy, there's a couple points where I was thinking like, man, maybe, did you get there where you were like about to quit?
Yeah. I think, obviously.
Yeah, we've been there.
Thank
We've
God
all been there.
I never made that dumb mistake, right?
Yeah.
I never made that dumb mistake.
Yeah.
Realistically, like I feel that this company has provided so much opportunity, and there still is so much opportunity. And I get it. Like sometimes there's changes that we may not like at the moment, but we got to understand that those changes are for sure to provide a better future for us later.
Yeah, because if the company's not in a good position, then it's not going to be a good position for our agents.
Correct.
So we're on the same team here. So we gotta sometimes take a step back and look at the big picture, and trust that they're making the right decisions for us and the future of the company. So yeah, it's been great, Andy. Want to leave us with some more advice to any agents that are going whatever you want to share. I mean, you share so much. I think the attitude and the work ethic is not the top 2 things that I got from you. And those are two things I believe in the most. But anything else you could say or share to help somebody out maybe?
No, I mean, I always like to share. So obviously, if anyone ever wants to reach out to chat with me directly, I'm always an open book, right? But yeah, keep it simple, right? Like that kiss, keep it simple. But just
Hmm.
the way I simplify this is just, you know, peace lives in the unknown. Believe in yourself. Work hard, right? Other than that, I mean, that pretty much it just summarizes everything. Just hard work, or work smart too. Obviously, right?
Hmm.
It's not
And,
just working hard; it's working smart.
and one thing I'll remember, everything that's happening is working for us, right?
Yep, life is always working for you.
Hmm.
Life is always working for you. Oh man, this happened to me. Oh, poor me, yada yada. No, perhaps life was taking away something that wasn't for you to protect you later in the future. I mean, don't just I guess just being really focusing on my spirituality, right? And the mindset, my faith, right? I guess that's the best way of saying this. Faith is everything. Living in faith. I don't know why. I feel like my life will always be great. I have that faith. I have that trust. I mean, and sometimes you can ask people, right? Like, do you live in faith? No, I don't at all. Well, you're driving on the road, right? So you do have faith. You have faith that the person next to you isn't going to just charge their car at your vehicle, right? Or you're crossing the street. You have faith that everyone's going to stop at that crosswalk, right? So we already somewhat live in faith, right? But it's just having that just I guess just, and it's easier said than done. I think it's just with years of focusing on the same things, like kind of like how we gotta work, like we work our body, we work out, right? Every day we work out to improve our health, to improve our heart, to keep our stresses down, right? To lose weight. Well, we also got to work on our mind. We also got to work on our mindset. We also got to train the brain to think a certain way. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But like anything, right? Just repetition over time. Repetition is the key to success. So as long as you keep practicing the same things and working on the same thoughts, and I don't know, I mean, I'm here kind of rambling a little bit.
No, man. It is like a muscle, positivity and faith in yourself. Really, those are things that you just can't just do every once in a while. It's just something that you have to always keep doing every day, and
Yeah.
that muscle gets stronger and stronger. So no, I get it.
I don't know how many times I've ordered Postmates at 9:30 at night or 10 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
There's still no driver has still picked up my order. And finally, after an hour and a half of waiting, it gets canceled. How frustrating is that? I was so hungry. But you know what? Life was telling me, you shouldn't be eating at 11:30 at
Yeah,
night.
go to sleep.
Go to sleep, eat some breakfast in the morning. So just
We
always
talked about that a little bit. You switched that around a little bit, working earlier.
yeah, actually that has been a big improvement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do see that my brain works a lot better, right, in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, sleeping earlier. What's next for your agency? What do you got what's any projects you're working on, or there's always something, happiness is making progress, right? So what are what's your plans or anything you want to share as far as your future of your agency?
Well, I'm starting to prep. We've had a lot of we have a lot of triggers that are starting to happen. We have a lot of extra underwriting that's going to be happening on our auto book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm right now actually, right, during a time where we might go through recession, I'm actually trying to hire more
Mm-hmm.
so that we can communicate to our clients better.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure we do a better job of communicating to clients the changes that will be happening, the changes that are coming, right? Again, our game plan is to keep clients, keep them happy. So I am doubling down on triggers, right? I'm spending now more efforts knowing that the real estate market has shifted just a little bit, right? That is now putting my focus more on the retention side of things. I'm still going to continue to attack on cross sales. The new business side of things still won't change, but I'm definitely looking at improving the customer experience even further. And why? Because I see murky waters happening. We've been somewhat fortunate as agents that we haven't been able to take any rate in California. And I would say somewhat fortunate because now we realize that we weren't so fortunate. Because of not being able to take rate, we've had to go through other extremes, right? But it's understanding that. And again, I just feel that I need to double down. I need to hire more people because now I need to get ready for anytime we start dealing with price changes or fluctuation in prices. There's a lot of disruption. And so I'm trying to get my people in place to get to attack during these disruptions.
Yeah. No, that's a great plan. We have to kind of have our back end all figured out and the customer experience. As long as you're putting that first, then that's going to be the best for us. And then sometimes I get in trouble thinking new business all the time too much that I kind of don't have the systems all figured out. So that's a good point. There's a lot of triggers, there's a lot of alerts that we need to keep an eye on, and getting documents and things like that, and just taking care of our clients because that's what we promised them. So you're making me think about my processes too. And then once we kind of have that, and there's going to be a lot of volatility, everyone's going to be shopping next year because once we do take rate, everyone's rates are going to be going up. So it's going to be a busy year for us next year. So kind of getting everything set up and having a team to be able to handle that activity, I think totally makes sense.
Yeah, getting ready for it now because I know we get overwhelmed. And if we're not ready for it, then perhaps we won't be able to tackle any new business because we're just going to be consumed by the servicing side of things. So having the right people in place now. So when that servicing picks up, which I know it's going to, right? There's enough people here to handle the servicing load that's going to come. So that way we still have the opportunity to continue to cross sell and still chase new business.
Yep.
But definitely putting a little more emphasis right now on the retention.
There you go. All right, cool. Hey, Andy, thank you so much, man. I mean, I thought we were going to have a light conversation, a fun one, because, we have so many casual conversations, but this is, you brought a lot of depth and a lot of just big picture, attitude and things that will really help anybody in this business. So I really want to just thank you and really acknowledge you for the growth because I've seen you from when you were 22 to the businessman you are now. And it's been something to really witness that people can change and people can improve and people can make a big difference in their community and to their family with just hard work and passion. So it's been great to be your friend and knowing you. And just keep in touch, let me know when you got some Clipper tickets so we could go together.
Hey, we're like the only Clipper fans in LA.
Right. So if you need anybody to go with, just let me know. That's not going to be pretty soon. There'll be more fans. People will be jumping on the bandwagon. That's my prediction. But man, we'll keep in touch. And we'll continue to both win in this business, man.
Definitely, man. Good to see you, Dan.
All right, cool. Thanks, Andy.